And we're back once again on the Linder Farm Network. We are at Farm America with our friends from CFS. Absolutely beautiful day. Big crowd yesterday. We've got a nice turnout here today. And we're talking technology and we're talking CFS. I've got a guest with me. And Tom, let's get your name and what you do.
My name is Tom Wacholtz. I've been working with Central Advantage, our precision program here, for just a little over 2 years. I primarily work out of the New Richland branch, kind of in the south central region. For our co-op, and been doing that for a while, and excited to work with these guys.
Okay, that's great. Now, where do you come from originally? What's your home turf?
I grew up in New Richland, just about 20 minutes, half hour south of here. My dad and uncle, they're farmers. I grew up there. Before I came into the agronomy world, I worked out in the oil rigs for a while in Colorado, and kind of came back home and really enjoy what I'm doing now.
So you know your way around a tractor pretty well.
I like to think so. I wouldn't say I know everything I need to know, but
yeah, absolutely.
Learning.
But you grew up doing it, so that's
Yes.
fantastic. So tell us what you specifically with farmers. What types of things do you get into? What are the biggest questions on inputs and so on?
The biggest things that I get into with the inputs being the way they are, the commodity markets being the way they are, is how can we be more efficient in our fields? I mean, we're never going to grow any more acres. There's always going to be the same amount of acres there, but how can we be more sustainable? How can we keep doing what we're doing today, tomorrow? Just basically get more bang for our buck, growing more bushels, and helping these farmers continue to grow and be successful.
That is great. And if you look at farms, is there any one or two things in particular that farmers should be looking at that they could maybe do better to get more yield?
I would think we're talking about the two things that we can do better. The first one is maybe looking at our weather a little bit more and trying to plan out more into the future. Maybe have a better plan instead of the old adage of, well, we've been doing it for 20, 30 years. That's been working well for us, but maybe we need to kind of get away from that and just make sure these growers are more aware of that there are practices that we're coming out with. There is different programs and things that we can do to reduce some of the negative applications that are going on in our field.
Yeah, it's kind of fun being outside here today with a helicopter right next door spraying and dive bombing down and spraying. That technology is just something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what about you? Are you seeing drones on farms? Are you starting to see farmers adopt some of the cutting edge technology out there?
Well, I think the last year or two, our company's done a good job in the summer with our interns of having the drone capabilities available to these farmers where we can go out and, I mean, you always walk along the side of a field in a road ditch, you can see, the first 100 feet into the field, but you can't tell what's going on in the middle of the field. And when we have wet summers like this, we get a lot more diseases and funguses growing in our fields, and those drones cut down the time that it takes to scout those fields. And it's definitely been a positive impact, and a half a dozen things I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, we've been hearing problems, especially in soybeans with disease. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of white mold issues this year with just with a lot of the narrower road bean fields and the cooler, wetter climate we've had this summer. It kind of set on a lot more often than we were hoping to see this year.
So how far away are we from harvest in your opinion, just from what you've seen? So the corn, I was checking out the field here, it's got a long way to go.
Yeah, I think this year we might be having a little bit more trouble with our moisture. I think our moisture is going to be more normal back into, if you remember 2009 when we had some really wet corn yields or corn moistures, I think that we might be more into the higher moisture deals like that. So I would think that on the soybean side of things that it might be a little bit later than the last couple of years where we may be in the fields around September 20th. I think if we don't get a surprise frost, guys won't really get going probably until the beginning of October, right at the end of September.
Well, warmer weather, it sounds like it's on the way, and boy, we could use that.
Yes, we could.
Yeah. Well, Tom, hey, I appreciate you joining us today on the Linder Farm Network, and it sounds like you have a fun job being out and about seeing people.
Yep, it's always a good day when you get out and work with the growers, and
Wonderful.
definitely a good time.
Okay, good to have you here. Back with more right after this.